Once upon a time, in the heart of a vibrant Indian city, nestled between bustling markets and tranquil temples, lived a young woman named Leela. Leela had a heart filled with kindness and hands that knew the magic of weaving. Each thread under her touch transformed into a masterpiece, a kaleidoscope of colors, narrating tales without words. Her loom sang a silent song as she wove intricate designs that seemed to dance before one could blink. In a world where traditions whispered on the wind and each sunrise brought new life, Leela found solace and purpose in her craft. Her days were spent in the company of her ancestors, their spirits residing in the wooden frame of her loom, teaching her the secrets of the universe through the language of silk. One day, as Leela sat at her loom, a royal messenger arrived, bearing an urgent message from the Maharaja. The king's daughter, Princess Amara, known for her grace and spirit, had fallen gravely ill. The doctors were baffled, and all hope seemed lost. In her final moments, the princess sent for the best silk weaver in the kingdom, hoping to receive a special silk cloth for her final journey. When Leela heard this plea, her heart ached for the young princess. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, she embarked on her journey to the palace, her loom resting peacefully in her cottage like a sleeping friend. Upon reaching the palace, Leela was led to the princess's chamber. There she saw Amara lying pale and weak, yet her eyes shone with the courage of 1,000 suns. "I heard about your skill, weaver," the princess said, her voice a mere whisper. "They say your hands can weave dreams." Leela bowed her head in respect. "It is just my humble craft, princess." Amara smiled faintly. "Then weave me a dream, weaver, dream of my homeland, a place I may never return to. Weave me a dream of blooming gardens, chirping birds, and a sky filled with the brightest stars." Touched by the princess's request, Leela promised to fulfill her wish, though she felt a deep sadness at the thought of the princess's impending departure. She knew that a weaver's art can transcend the boundaries of life and death. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, Leela returned to the princess's room with a magnificent piece of silk in her hands. It was a mesmerizing tapestry depicting the lush landscapes of Amaravati's homeland. The center of the cloth showcased a majestic banyan tree, its roots spreading out like welcoming arms, symbolizing the eternal bond between the princess and her roots. Around the tree, peacocks with emerald tails danced gracefully, their feathers adorned with tiny mirror pieces that glittered like stars. Below the tree, rabbits frolicked amidst flowers, their white tails bobbing playfully, while tiny birds perched on slender branches, adding a touch of lifelike animation to the scene. Amara's eyes widened in awe. "It's beautiful, weaver," she whispered. "Okay, it's perfect." As the princess wrapped herself in the silk, a serene smile touched her lips. For a moment, she was no longer bound by illness, but was free to roam the fields and gardens of her homeland in her dreams. Leela watched her transformation, her heart filled with a mix of emotions. She understood that though her craft couldn't heal the princess's body, it could touch her soul and provide solace in her final moments. Days turned into nights, and nights turned into days, as the princess continued to rest, enveloped in Leela's dreams. The entire kingdom waited anxiously, hoping for a miracle. Yet none knew if or when the weaver's magic would be enough to overcome the grim shadow that loomed over the princess. Meanwhile, Leela didn't just sit by the loom. She poured her heart and soul into each thread, infusing it with her love for her craft and her compassion for the princess. She wove tales of bravery, hope, and the enduring spirit of the human soul, creating a narrative that unfolded with every passing moment. Her hands flew effortlessly across the loom, weaving a tapestry of emotions that resonated with the princess's journey. The cloth became a testament to their shared connection, a bond forged not just by the threads, but also by their hopes and dreams. The people of the kingdom captivated by Leela's dedication, began to gather outside the palace, their faces reflecting the mixture of worry and admiration they felt towards the skilled weaver. They whispered stories of Leela's talent and the magical powers some believed she possessed. Each day, the crowd grew larger, forming a silent chorus of anticipation. Their presence, though unseen by Leela, served as a constant reminder of the weight of their hopes placed upon her shoulders. Deep within the palace, the princess began to stir. The cloth woven by Leela, infused with potent emotions and prayers, had become a conduit between the physical world and the realm of dreams. It was as if the very essence of the kingdom's hopes had been woven into its fibers. As Amara regained consciousness, the first thing she saw was the concerned face of her royal parents. "Have I passed?" she asked weakly. Her voice, though hoarse, echoed with the strength that had once defined her spirit. Parents rushed to her side, their faces etched with worry, quickly replaced by relief and joy upon hearing their daughter's question. "You have, my child," her mother whispered, tears of joy streaming down her face. "You have indeed passed." And so the princess recovered, her health slowly returning to her like the dawn after a long, dark night. The entire kingdom erupted in celebration, hailing Leela's weaving as nothing short of miraculous. From that day forward, Leela was not just a weaver, but a legend. Her name was whispered with reverence, her craft seen as more than just an art form. The threads in her hands were seen as carriers of emotions, capable of bridging the gap between dreams and reality. Yet Leela remained humble. She continued to weave, each piece carrying forward the legacy of hope, healing, and the indomitable spirit of the human soul. As the years went by, the princess, now fully recovered, often visited Leela. Their bond, forged during the darkest hours, had grown into a beautiful friendship. One day, Princess Amara stepped into Leela's modest home, her eyes scanning the cozy space filled with spools of colorful silk. "I want to learn," she said, her gaze meeting Leela's. Startled by the princess's request, Leela hesitated. She knew that Amara's place was in the palace, not at a loom, but she also saw the determination in the princess's eyes. So she agreed, understanding that sometimes the greatest lessons are learned outside the confines of a palace wall. Under Leela's patient guidance, Amara learned the intricacies of weaving. She discovered that each thread had a story to tell, and each color held a memory. As the princess wove, her nimble fingers moved with a grace that mirrored her royal lineage. Yet it was the focus and concentration in her eyes that truly amazed Leela. For in those moments, Leela saw not a pampered princess, but a student eager to learn, her heart open to the simple joys of the craft. Weeks turned into months, and Princess Amara found solace and joy in weaving. It became her secret retreat, a place where she could escape the pressures of royalty and lose herself in the rhythm of the loom. Whenever the weight of her responsibilities felt overwhelming, she would seek refuge at her loom, finding comfort in the gentle clacking of the shuttle and the soft rustle of the silk threads. As Amara wove, she dreamed of a world where princesses weren't just confined to palaces, but could roam freely, their hearts following their passions. With every design she created, she wove in threads of rebellion, challenging the norms of her time and paving the way for future generations of princesses to pursue their dreams. Leela watched the princess blossom, not just as a weaver, but as a young woman who dared to defy societal expectations and find happiness on her own terms. The bond between them deepened, and Leela realized that she wasn't just teaching a princess how to weave. She was also learning from her the importance of following one's heart, no matter how daunting the path may seem. Now, my friends, I want to ask you, what did Leela teach the princess? What did the princess learn from Leela? And what is the most important lesson you've learned from someone else? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories and reflections might inspire others and create connections among us. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this tale. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And until we meet again in our next story, remember, You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and more loved than you know.